What's going on, guys? It's Matias, and I'm hanging out here with Rob on Front Row Live.
Congratulations, the new single. Talk to me about the creative process for Me Dejes Solo.
Thanks, man. Yeah, thanks for having me. So, it was pretty interesting with this record because it was kind of unique versus some of the other records that I've done in the past because this is the first song that I'm doing like fully in Spanish. So everything before this was kind of like a mix of the two. But it kind of started from this like actually like African beat that I kind of found. It was like this really cool like rhythmic thing that I found, and it's like pretty much the main line of the whole song. But it started with that. I was kind of like vibing on it one night while I was producing in the studio, and like next thing you know, I'm like, okay, how can I develop this a little bit? How can I bring this into something that's a little more my genre, my vibe? And so I started adding some like Latin, type chords and progressions to it. And back in, I guess it was like in January now, I linked up with a friend of mine who's a really good songwriter. His name is Felipe Santos, and we kind of came together and brought some of the bass melody that I had, and he helped me out with some of the lyrics and composition and whatnot. And yeah, it just kind of came together like that. It was pretty cool, man. I'm excited.
So talk to me a little bit about how you mentioned like this is the first song that it's like fully in Spanish. So me like obviously you speak Spanish, so it's not like it was much of a transition for you as far as the language goes. But I know it's sometimes it's a lot more difficult to sing and write in your native language than it is to write in a different language. Did you feel like that was the case for you this time around?
Yeah, well, it's kind of interesting for me, man, because I mean, my first language is English. I grew up speaking English. I grew up in the States, but I only learned Spanish about 7 years ago. So this was kind of a pretty big step for me. I mean, I was doing like little pieces of the music in Spanish before, and trying stuff out. But this was like the real big commitment as far as like, all right, I'm gonna go for it. But it's cool though. I like the challenge. I mean, I think the point of doing music is, to constantly be challenging yourself and trying to break bounds. I mean, that's what it's all about, right?
That's true. That's true. But as you started to write the song, did you know that was it a conscious decision that you were going to start and just do it full blown in Spanish, or did it just kind of naturally happen where you started writing the song and you just like realized that I just wrote this whole thing in Spanish?
I think it just kind of happened, man. I mean, like so like I said, I had a co-writer on this with me, Felipe, and I was kind of talking to him, and I'm like, all right, do we kind of just do we try to do it in English and Spanish? And he's like, you know what, let's just go with it. And let's just see what happens. And it ended up just kind of like the whole Spanish thing just ended up working out. So, and I've been actively making an effort to try to get to that point too. So there is some intention behind it, but I think it was just a matter of finding the right record that made sense.
Do you feel like you're ready to make this step completely with the rest of your material, or do you feel like you still need to have some of that like Spanish English style of music that you had in the past?
No, I'm pretty good moving forward on it, man. I mean, outside of this, I have about 10 other records that are all like in Spanish. So what I am doing is I'm still throwing like maybe like a verse or like a little piece in English because I think that there's something unique about having that still and still being able to kind of touch back into where I come from. I mean, outside of my Latino culture, I grew up in the States. I grew up speaking English. So, but yeah, I mean, for the most part, yeah, I'm totally ready to just push into it. I'll still always have little pieces and touches of the English though.
So as you were creating this song, what do you feel was your biggest challenge in making it? Was it like a part in the writing? Was it a part in the recording process? Like what challenged you the most?
Oh man. So I would say the biggest challenge, probably the recording process. I've recorded this song 4 times now. So it was a matter of like finding the right vibe because so we went it off, we did a demo version with Felipe, and I was like, all right, this is cool. I mean, I like it, it's a good vibe. But as I'm listening to it, I'm like, okay, we need to get a final. So I ended up cutting the final back at my place in my home studio, and I sent it off to my mix engineer, and he kind of started to play with it and get the levels right. And I'm like, I'm feeling this, man. So like, we went and did it again, and I'm like, still just like there was, for the most part, it was there, but there was still little pieces, and I'm like, all right, you know what? I gotta get it, because if I'm gonna do it, my first song completely in Spanish, I have to make sure it's like 100%. Maybe that's the perfectionist in me, but yeah, finally after those 4 tries, I was like, all right, we got it, we're good to go. I gotta put it out. I can't hang on it anymore, because I know I'll probably listen and hear something I don't like, but I think that's almost every musician. They always hear something that just drives you wild, but it's all about putting it out there.
Is that a constant problem for you whenever you're about to release music? Do you find yourself like kind of having to scratch it and just start all over, or like changing something that is like maybe not that big of a deal to like us, the listener, but to you, it's like it's just like grinding your ears or something?
I mean, like I've been getting better at not doing that. For a long time, it was a really bad habit. But I don't know. For me, it's like this is a mark that you're leaving in history. You know what I mean? So this is my legacy that I'm creating. So I don't know. I want it to be perfect. But I think if you look at, again, any major artist, I feel like they'll always have that little thing that, again, the listen never is gonna notice, ever. But you're always gonna hear just that little thing that just always kind of grinds you a little bit. But it's all part of the creative process.
So what's next for you now that this drops this Friday? What are the plans for more music? Are you trying to work on a piece of music, a body of work, whether an EP or an album, or do you want to like just keep going with the singles game?
You know, I've been kind of debating that with my team and everything. I feel like right now, especially with all these streaming platforms, everything's about the single. So we've been kind of developing a method where we want to be releasing out like every 6 weeks a new song, and like I said earlier, I have the material for that. So I think that's the method we're going to try. I mean, if we can eventually get to some kind of body work like an EP or something like that, I think that would be great. But for right now, with the way everything is, I think just keep going on singles and keep letting people kind of develop and hear more of my sound and kind of go from there. I mean, I think when it's time for the EP, I'll know. I'll feel it.